All right, I just got home not too long ago after seeing a early screening for Spider-Man: Brand New Day. So there's a spoiler-free discussion. Can't really give too much away because there's a lot of shit that happens in this film. And this Sunday, for real, what's another YouTube channel? Real Bites. Joe Punches and myself, and also RJ Brooklyn Savage. We will get together and go in depth about Brand New Day, but I gotta keep it very brief on here. All I can say is we finally got what we wanted out of a Spider-Man story. We got a street level Spider-Man. We got a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We got essentially a Spider-Man of the people. Um, with the other three Tom Holland movies, they were good stories, but they just felt like they were being too overshadowed by other things that were going on. So, um, and we finally got what we wanted out of here. Like we got more of that kind of Spider-Man, even in like Andrew films, and even in the Toby films. This is a film where you get to see Spider-Man actually be treated like pretty much the king of New York, and you actually get to see more of New York in this film. You get to see Spider-Man take care of the city of New York, probably better than most other heroes do. And there's a nice little scene. I won't really say where it is, but you really get to see how much he means to this city. And the unfortunate part is that Peter Parker can't tell anyone who he is, or as a matter of fact, nobody knows who Peter Parker is. He has to pretty much kind of take that win in his heart because no one will ever know who he is. And that's another thing that they really touched down in this movie that they didn't even do, since Toby, was that Peter's life is just complete crap, for obvious reasons. But like in this movie, they really hammer it home, like from the beginning of like, this is not a good superhero story. I mean, this like being a superhero isn't as cracked up as it's cracked up to be. And it's very depressing. It's probably the darkest Spider-Man film to date as far as like mood. I mean, obviously there's still humor in it, but it's not forced in MCU humor. But Peter Parker at the end of the day, he's all alone. He's on his own. And the one big message out of this movie that you can take away is just because you're on your own doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Surround yourself with good people in your life, and that's kind of the big theme in the story. Not just for Peter Parker, but for a certain character whose name I will not mention for obvious reasons. So I'll just leave it at that. Um, I thought the chemistry with the buddy cop dynamic with Peter Parker and the Punisher, or basically it was just Tom Holland and John Bernthal acting. I thought they were great together, and this makes me want to see more of them in the future. A lot of the Punisher diehards are probably going to hate this, but this is PG-13 Punisher, just like in comics when we had PG-13 Punisher wearing like the white gloves and helping heroes in the Marvel universe. We're not getting Punisher Max in this. We're getting this kind of Punisher, and I was fine with it. I loved it. This might be the best foray I've seen from John Bernthal in the role. One of my biggest complaints with John Bernthal's Punisher was that I just think he's too overly emotional, and it just feels like he's stuck on page one. Whereas in this, we got a little bit more out of him. We got more personality. We got more. We still got that intensity out of him. The dynamic between them two was that Punisher is a man that lives by a certain code, and Spider-Man isn't. And it, kind of comes to a head, in a certain scene. Again, won't give away anything. And Sadie Sink, again, I will keep it brief as mother effing possible. She was great. Can't really give away too much after that. I will also say this is maybe the best shot Spider-Man film. The cinematography on this I thought was excellent. the way they're able to blend it with a lot of the CGI choreography fight scenes, because Daniel Destin Daniel Cretton, I'm probably butchering his name. He did the Shang-Chi. He did Shang-Chi. He also did Wonder Man. So he was able to blend in two different, tones into one movie. Or in his case, he worked on two very different characters in the Marvel universe. And a lot of the acting scenes where it was Peter and, trying to reconnect with a lot of his friends, I thought was some of the best dialogue in an MCU film, because it really hit home. Um, all I'm gonna say is, like, bring some tissues. There's some scenes that got me. There's especially two scenes, well, one scene in particular where I'm like, that is cruel, and I should have seen it coming. But I was just so wrapped up in the moment. And Zendaya is good. I mean, Zendaya is always good in everything. She's not in it very long. Jacob Batalon, I think is his name. He plays Ned. His job mainly is just to be there to serve everybody, and that's not a bad thing, because he was Spider-Man's best friend, so he's the guy there to kind of make everyone happy. And Tremel Tillman, I think, is good as a, well, it's not really a spoiler. He's William Metzger, and if anyone is familiar with X-Men comic lore, you kind of know where he's going. You kind of know where the MCU is going with mutants. And Mark Ruffalo's good, for the time he's in. He's not in it very long. I will say, one of my biggest worries going into this film was kind of resolved, because my biggest worry was I thought there were too many characters. And they did a great job managing all these characters. You had Michael Mondo come back as Scorpion. I thought he was redeemed. That's another character I want to see later on. They have Tombstone in it. They have the actor who played him in the Into the Spider-Verse, who's also Tobias Whale in Black Lightning. He wasn't in it very long. I was kind of, if I had to pick any complaints, that was kind of my only complaint. But my complaints for this movie, I think, were very minuscule. I would kind of throw them up as to just me problems. Like, for example, how does Peter Parker make money? Like, he doesn't even say he has a job. He doesn't really speculate as to what he does to make money to live in this apartment. How does it that his suit just manages to stay clean after every fight? And there's a post-credit scene, only a post-credit scene. There's not a mid. It's literally a post. You literally have to wait until the last shot of it saying, from Sony Pictures. I get where they're going with it, because they took an idea of something being used in the movie as almost like, oh, this is used for like comedic effect or just to be cute. But then they kind of gave it a sinister undertone, and it's obviously setting up something in another movie. But yeah, this movie overall, it's not a stepping stone to other movies. It's more of a laying out the blueprint for the future of the MCU. And to me, this is the best Spider-Man film since Spider-Man 2. By far. We finally got a friendly neighborhood Spidey. We got a Peter Parker story. We got a street level Spider-Man story. And that's what we've been wanting for years from Tom Holland. And we finally got it. So, again, can't give away too much, but I can't wait to see this again. And it's 2.5 hours. It doesn't feel like 2.5 hours. Like, I was at the point where I'm like, I kind of want more movie. Like, when the movie ended, I'm like, but I want more. So, maybe it's recency bias. I don't give a fuck. I love this movie. If you're a Spider-Man fan, this will give you everything you want. If you're an MCU fan, this will give you everything you want. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. But for a more in-depth, I guess a more in-depth review of this movie, catch us on Real Bites this Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time with Joe Punches, myself, and RJ the Brooklyn Savage. So, laters. Also, subscribe, like, and comment.